You pull into the gas station on a cold Tuesday morning, you crouch down next to your front tire, and you set the little air chuck to 32 pounds per square inches. That is the number everyone has been telling you to use for the last 20 years. You stand back up, you feel good about yourself, you drive off thinking you just did your car a favor. Here is the truth: you just signed the death certificate on a set of tires that should have lasted you another 2 winters. And the tire shop down the road is counting on you to come back in 8 months with your wallet open, and it is the same story every single time, isn't it? You rotate, you balance, you pay the alignment fee, you buy the road hazard warranty. Somehow by 35,000 miles, the edges are feathered, the center is bald, the ride feels like a shopping cart with a bent wheel. The guy behind the counter is shaking his head, telling you that you need 4 new tires, plus mounting, plus disposal, plus nitrogen fill, $1,200 out the door. You walk out wondering how a set of tires rated for 60,000 miles barely made it past half. Most people believe that 32 pounds per square inches is the magic number printed in stone somewhere, that it came from engineers, that it is the safe middle ground for any car on any road, but actually that number is a generic placeholder. It was never meant for your specific vehicle. And following it blindly is doing 3 things at once. It is wearing your tread unevenly. It is killing your fuel economy by as much as 3% per tire. It is heating up the sidewalls until the rubber compound literally breaks down from the inside. The tire industry knows this, the tire industry profits from this, and nothing ever changes for you because every time you replace those tires, you set them right back to 32 and start the cycle all over again. In the next few minutes, I am going to show you exactly why that number is a trap. I am going to break this into 2 completely different problems most drivers confuse for: one, the pressure problem, and the wear pattern problem. And at the end, I am going to give you the one prevention habit that costs you nothing, adds tens of thousands of miles to every set of tires you ever buy again. Stay with me, because this is the kind of thing the old mechanics knew in their bones, and the modern shop will never put on a receipt. Part 1, the pressure trap itself. And this is the most emotional version of the problem. It is the one you are doing wrong this very week. Here is what you instinctively do. You walk up to the pump, you remember someone said 32, maybe you saw it on the sidewall of the tire, you fill all 4 to 32, you cap the valves, you call it a day. It feels logical, it feels responsible, the number is round, it is easy to remember, and the sidewall of the tire even has a number stamped on it that looks official. But here is what is actually happening under your hood and under your fenders. The number stamped on the sidewall of the tire, that 32, 35, sometimes 44 pounds per square inches, you see that is the maximum cold pressure the tire can safely hold. That is not the recommended pressure for your vehicle. That is the ceiling, not the target. The real number, the one the engineers who built your car actually want you running, is printed on a yellow and white sticker inside your driver's door jamb. Depending on your vehicle, it can be anywhere from 30 pounds per square inches on a small sedan, to 36 on a midsize SUV, to 41 on a half-ton pickup. When you run 32 inches a truck that wants 38, you are underinflated by 16%. The sidewalls flex with every rotation, that flex generates heat, and at highway speeds in summer, that internal tire temperature can climb past 195 degrees Fahrenheit. Rubber starts losing its structural bond around 200. That is how you get a blowout on the interstate from a tire that looked fine in the driveway, and when you run 32 inches, a small car that wants 30, you are over by just enough that the center of the tread bulges out. Only the middle strip touches the road, and you wear out the center 40% faster than the shoulders. Either way, you lose. So here is the reframe. 32 pounds per square inches is not a recommendation, it is a coincidence, and treating it like gospel is what is destroying your tires. The correct method is simple, and it takes you 90 seconds. Open your driver's door, look at the sticker on the jamb or on the inside edge of the door itself, find the cold tire pressure for your front axle and your rear axle, write those 2 numbers down on a piece of tape stuck to your glove box. Cold means the tires have been sitting for at least 3 hours or driven less than 1 mile. Then go to the pump in the morning before the sun warms the rubber. Set each tire to its exact recommended number and check all 4 with a real dial gauge. A quality digital gauge, not the stick gauge, that lives in your console drawer and reads 4 pounds per square inches off in either direction. If you tow, if you haul, if you carry more than 3 passengers regularly, bump the rear axle up by 3 to 5 pounds per square inches to compensate for the load. And here is your universal mini prevention tip for part 1. Check your pressure on the first cold morning of every month. For every 10 degrees Fahrenheit, the outside temperature drops. Your tires lose roughly 1 pound per square inch. That is how you wake up in October with all 4 tires 4 pounds per square inches low and not even know it. Part 2, and this is a completely different problem, because even if you get the pressure perfect, you can still destroy a set of tires from a totally separate mechanical issue, the wear pattern problem, which is about how the tire meets the road, not how much air is inside it. This one is sneakier, it builds over thousands of miles, and the catastrophic consequence does not show up until you are 30,000 miles in. The tread is scalloped, cupped, feathered along the inside edge. The tire shop tells you the tires are toast, and by the way, your control arm bushings are shot, and that will be another $800. Most people never catch this in time because they only look at their tires when they are washing the car, and by then the damage is permanent. The universal mistake here is assuming that if the pressure is right and the tires look round, everything is fine. But actually the way your tire wears tells you a story about your alignment, your rotation pattern, your suspension, and ignoring that story is how a 60,000 mile tire becomes a 28,000 mile tire. Method 1, the cheapest and simplest fix, is the penny test and the hand test, and you do it once a month in your own driveway. Run your bare hand across the tread, from inside edge to outside edge. If it feels smooth in one direction and sharp like shark skin in the other, you have feathering, which means your toe alignment is off and the tire is being dragged sideways a fraction of an inch with every rotation. Stick a penny upside down into the tread at the inside edge, the middle, and the outside edge. If Lincoln's head disappears at the middle but you can see his whole forehead at the edges, your pressure has been too high for too long. If it is the opposite, your pressure has been too low. Catching this early lets you correct the cause before the tire is ruined. Method 2, rotate on a strict schedule and do it yourself if you can. Every 5,000 to 7,500 miles, move the tires in the proper pattern for your drivetrain. Front-wheel drive uses a forward cross, fronts go straight back, rears cross to the front. Rear wheel and four-wheel drive use a rearward cross, rears go straight forward, fronts cross to the rear. The mechanical reason this matters is that your front tires do roughly 70% of the braking, all of the steering, and on a front drive car, all of the acceleration, so they wear 2 to 3 times faster than the rears. Rotating spreads that wear across all 4 contact patches and keeps the tread depth even, which keeps the car balanced in the rain and stops one tire from hydroplaning before the others. Method 3, and this is the one most people skip because it costs around $100. Get a proper four-wheel alignment every 20,000 miles or anytime you hit a pothole hard enough to spill your coffee. The alignment sets 3 angles: camber, caster, and toe, and when any one of them drifts out of spec by even half a degree, your tire scrubs sideways across the pavement instead of rolling cleanly. A toe-in error of just 1/8 of an inch will drag your tire sideways, the equivalent of 28 feet for every mile you drive. That is how a brand new set of tires wears down to the cords on the inside edge in less than 15,000 miles. The outside still looks new. A $100 alignment saves you a $1,200 tire bill, and that math works every single time. Part 3, prevention. Here is the one universal habit that prevents both the pressure trap, the wear pattern disaster from ever ruining a set of tires on your vehicle again, and it costs you exactly $0. Buy one good digital tire pressure gauge, the kind with a backlit screen and a bleed valve. You can get a solid one for around $15. It will last you 20 years, and use it on the first Sunday morning of every month before you drive anywhere. Check all 4 tires, cold, set them to the door jamb number. While you are crouched down there, run your hand across each tread and look at the wear across the width. The reason this works mechanically is that 90% of all tire damage compounds slowly. A tire that is 3 pounds per square inches low today is 5 pounds per square inches low next month, and 8 pounds per square inches low by spring. And each step accelerates the heat damage and the edge wear exponentially. Catching it on day 1 means it never gets to day 90. That $15 gauge in 10 minutes a month will save you somewhere between $300 and $800 a year in tire life, plus another $150 in fuel. Properly inflated tires roll with less resistance and give you back roughly 3% better fuel economy across the board. Now, here is the new problem you are going to run into once you start doing all of this correctly. You are going to set your pressures perfectly, you are going to rotate on schedule, you are going to keep the tread even, within a few weeks, your tire pressure monitoring system, that little yellow light on your dash, is going to start acting up. It is going to flash. It is going to throw false warnings. It is going to tell you a tire is low when your gauge says it is dead on. And the dealership is going to quote you $200 per sensor to replace them. There is a way to reset those sensors yourself. There is a way to test them with a tool that costs less than $30. And there is a way to make them last another 5 years instead of failing the moment their internal battery dies. If you are already seeing that yellow light flicker on your dash, drop a comment below. Just write TPMS so I know to make that video next, and subscribe. You do not miss it when it goes up. That little sensor problem is the exact next trap waiting for you the moment you start taking your tire pressure seriously. I will see you in the next one. Before I let you go though, I want to leave you with a few last things that will stick with you the next time you are standing in a parking lot with a gauge in your hand wondering if you are doing this right. Back in 2000, after the Firestone and Ford Explorer rollover crisis that killed at least 271 people and injured more than 800, Congress passed the Tread Act. That law is the entire reason your car even has a tire pressure monitoring system today. It is the reason that little sticker inside your driver's door jamb exists in the format it does. Before that, tire pressure recommendations were buried in owner's manuals that nobody read. After 2007, every new passenger vehicle sold in the United States had to have TPMS standard and a placard on the doorframe. That placard is not a suggestion. It was written by the engineers who designed your suspension geometry, your load distribution, your braking dynamics, and your rollover threshold. When some kid at a tire shop overrides that number with a generic 32 because it is easier than reading, he is overriding 2 decades of federal safety engineering and roughly $400 million in research and crash testing. And consider the physical reality of what is happening inside that tire when you drive. At highway speed, your tire is flexing and rebounding roughly 14 times per second. Every single flex generates heat, underinflate by even 6 pounds per square inches, and the sidewall flex doubles. Internal temperatures can climb past 195 degrees Fahrenheit, and the rubber bonds holding the steel belts to the tread begin to break down. That is exactly how a tread separation happens at 70 miles per hour on a Tuesday afternoon with your kids in the back seat. It is not random. It is not bad luck. It is physics responding to a number somebody guessed at instead of looked up. So check your door jamb, buy the gauge, set the pressure cold, and stop letting strangers gamble with your safety in your wallet.